are back with a ginormous group of people here to talk about Star Trek Picard. And we're back
Whoa.
on. Actually, we're not back in a sense. We're on a new thing. This is the inaugural episode of Starfleet So Hail. So, for those of you who don't know, I am going to keep my handle on Twitter for Starfleet Boy, but I'm rebranding myself as Starfleet So Hail so that when I'm 60, people will look at me weird, like, why are you Starfleet Boy at the age of 60? So I'm gonna start now. I'm 44, so I figured this is like a good time. And every now and then, like you all can still call me Starfleet Boy if you want to. And we lost Marcelo for some reason. He was here as well, so hopefully he'll pop back in. But we have two new members. Well, actually, Michelle's been on the YouTube before, right, Michelle? I feel like
for an animated series episode.
that's
Yes.
right. That's right. So Michelle's returning, but we have Ken. Welcome, Ken. This
Hello.
is your first time on the show. It's so good to have you.
Oh, it is. And I am so happy to be here. I'm so excited to see so many familiar and wonderful faces and meet some new people. And Starfleet Boy, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
It's a real pleasure to have you on. I loved. I think we met on Twitter Spaces or something like. I forget how we met exactly on Twitter.
We
but
did.
It was like, and it's been a nice
You
friendship.
and your
ever
amazing
since.
Twitter spaces. Yeah. And then I was like, okay, here we go. And you put on a great spaces, Starfleet Boy. You know how to
Thank you.
space.
Thank
It's
you.
really good.
I know how to space, But that being said, Michelle is part of a duo that puts on a great Twitter space, and you guys are going to be going on tonight. It's the Crusher Convos Twitter space. Are you doing that tonight, right?
Yeah,
Or
so
no?
we're doing that tonight live on Twitter Spaces at 9. And then the salon will be afterwards with Stan and
That's
Trev
right.
and Ken at,
At
hopefully
10:30
Ken
Eastern.
at 10:30. So we have a
Yep.
whole Star Trek chat lineup so you can all decompress and say words that were unnecessary between Beverly and Jean-Luc, but
Yeah.
we can
Right.
we can say all the words.
Oh my god, that scene is perfection. I think of it as like one of the
Yes.
top scenes.
Crusher
of
Convo is
Star
going to be
Trek.
crushing that conversation tonight
I
with
can't-
Jesse,
I
my
can't
co-host
wait.
who can't be here. Jesse is amazing. She created Crusher Convo, so all props to Jesse, who will be joining us at 9 tonight.
Excellent. And
Thanks
of
for
course, we
having me
have
on here. So hell, I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on. No, I appreciate it. You're invited every week for Picard and anything you want. All of y'all. Y'all are great. We have returning Braxton, and look, who's that? Is that Esri or is that
This is
Ahsoka?
Ezra.
This is Esri. That's right. We have Braxton and Esri. We have PJ, and then I'm not sure what's going on with Toddy. Did he send a message? Is he having technical difficulties or something like that? I'm not 100% sure, but he's around too. So, Ken, there's a little tradition on Starfleet Boy, and I forgot to tell you about this in advance. So I hope you don't mind me putting you on the spot a little bit. But briefly, could you tell everyone like how you came to Star Trek and like a little bit about yourself and anything anything you might be doing that you might want the audience to know about?
Yeah, sure. So my father, who's no longer with us, but my father used to work in spacecraft engineering back in the 60s and 70s. So he worked on Skylab and the Voyager spacecraft and the space shuttle. And so he would come home with all of this literature with beautiful painted newsletters back when they actually had printed newsletters of spacescapes and stuff like that. And he was a big Star Trek original series fan. And so he brought me in, and it was a big bonding moment for me and my dad. And the thing that I remember the most is when Star Trek: The Motion Picture came out in 1979. I was 11, and there was a ABC's 2020 feature about the return of Star Trek. And I was lying on the floor, my 11-year-old self, on a shag rug, and my dad was sitting on the couch, and I was so excited. And he's like, "All right, Ken, calm down, because I am an original fan. And he literally said this: "You're the next generation." No idea later on what that would mean, but it was just so fun. And so everything that has to do, all my love of Star Trek is really an honor and in memory of my father in a lot of ways. So it's really special to me. What I do is I am the co-founder of a company called the Talk About It Company, which works with celebrities and industry to help raise awareness and attention to important causes. Right now, we're very heavily focused on epilepsy because I worked in epilepsy for 20 years at the Epilepsy Foundation. And very lucky to work with some really cool Star Trek personalities. Just this week, we released a new video, one of 3 that's coming out with Todd Stashwick, Captain Shaw.
Captain Liam
So,
Shaw. Yeah, that's right.
So this shirt, I'm wearing this shirt in the honor of Todd's work with us. And, I've worked with Brent Spiner and William Shatner. And the person who is the co-founder with me is an actor by the name of Greg Grunberg, who has appeared in Star Trek a couple of times too.
Very
Yeah,
cool. Hey, we got Marcelo
Thank
back.
you again for
Marcelo,
having me.
welcome back.
Sorry about
What's
that. Sorry about that. I decided to go mobile, and that's what I get for going mobile.
What, doesn't the StreamYards not work on the mobile? That's good to know.
No, actually, the stream started out fine, but then I couldn't hear you guys.
Oh, okay. Well, there's technical difficulties whenever we have a group of this size, so I'm pretty impressed. We're gonna start the show off with a little kind of short summary, and since Toddy was late, we're gonna let him do the summary.
You insane?
Yes, it's a punishment now. So, Toddy, what happened on this week's episode of Star Trek Picard in a quick summary?
Oh
my god! Okay, I'll do it.
So
Terrible.
I saw this episode this week, right? Today, but then I can't remember, right?
Did you not watch it today? Did you watch it through the other means that subspace thing that happened?
I watched
before,
it. I watched it through subspace.
All right, I'm giving
There
the
was a timey
summary.
wimey situation. I don't know.
So basically, we continue right away from episode 1 when the Shrike is revealed, and we get some cool scenes where we discover that Jack is who the captain of the Shrike, Vadic, is after. Really nice scene with the transport inhibitors and Jean-Luc and everything like that. They concoct a plan to take the shuttle that's docked on the Helios and put Dr. Crusher in there, and then get out of the nebula and hopefully contact the Titan, which is supposedly on its way, but they don't know that it's still actually kind of lingering outside the nebula. Anyways, that's blown to smithereens, literally, the the shuttle, and so they're kind of left with no other options. Meanwhile, on the Titan, we have a kind of interesting interplay between Commander Seven and Captain Shaw, in which.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Wow.
Wow.
Sorry.
His feelings.
Got fascinating interplays right there.
Go ahead. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Interesting.
I did that all episode, so you're fine. I have strong feelings too. I understand.
So an interesting exchange between them, but basically Seven boils it down to, and I think this would convince probably anyone. Do you want to be a hero killer or the savior of these legends, right? So he's kind of left with no choice. He's I think he's realizing that oh yeah, that would not go over well, even if he was right technically. So anyways, back on the ship, they're kind of trying to figure something out, but it looks like it's the last straw. The Shrike has them in the grips of this really intense tractor beam, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere the Titan appears and cuts the tractor beam, and there's this awesome music and everything. It's very cool, very Star Trek ship saves the day moment, which I enjoyed. They beam our heroes and Dr. Crusher aboard, and then we get the introduction of the big bad, I think, for the season. She might be not the only one, but yeah, she's pretty bad, evil, and that is Vadic. And she's kind of got these interesting nervous tics. She laughs and is kind of kooky and crazy, and she just I love her. So far, she's pretty interesting. Anyways, she gives them an hour to prepare Jack and hand him over. She says she's a bounty hunter, and there's a hefty bounty on his head. And so then Captain Shaw's yeah, let's give this guy up and get the hell out of here. And Picard and Riker are we can't just do that. Riker has a really great line about him being a yeah, maybe he's done some bad things, but he's like, he's an honorable person. Like he has good intentions. We can't just hand him over. But anyways, so they put in the meantime, Shaw and Seven also discover that Jack's not exactly the most up and up kind of guy, and they even doubt that he is Beverly's son, because they're like, yeah, he might have just like attached himself to this unconscious lady. Who know? We don't know the whole situation, so there's a little bit of that. Meanwhile, Riker is constantly kind of goading Jean-Luc or like trying to get him to confess something very important, which is that, hey, there's like an interesting similarity between this kid and you, but it's not working. Jean-Luc seems to be waiting. He doesn't want to speculate. There's another scene that I thought was awesome in the brig, where Jean-Luc is basically interrogating Jack, and I loved the exchange between the two of them there. Anyways, the countdown's on. Meanwhile, on planet Metalis, which is you'll never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy in Star Trek, apparently. In District 6, Rafi's on an adventure because despite her handler at Starfleet Intelligence telling her to disengage, the title of this episode, she decides, no, I'm Rafi and I'm gonna engage, and like no one else is gonna believe me, but I'm still gonna do it. So we get to meet her former partner, husband, Jay, who runs a nightclub, and he's an artist, and I kind of want his life, but I don't want the nitty gritty bad parts, like dealing with gangsters and stuff like that. Anyways, she's after this character named Sneed, who's a Ferengi played by one of my favorite actors, Aaron Stanford, who those of us who have seen 12 Monkeys, he's the lead. He plays James Cole, which by the way was it was dropped in as one of Jack's alter egos or secret identities, and I didn't get the reference to the last one. You guys will have to tell me about who the last one was. What was the name that he threw out? He's like, and I was really impressed with this one. It was like something, I want to say Jebediah, but I know it wasn't Jebediah.
Jarvis Carvel or something like that.
Jarvis Carvel, yeah. What is that? What's that from? But anyways,
I just kept thinking of the ice cream. I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, maybe Carvel ice cream. Oh, Carvel, was that like a Florida? I always thought that was just a Florida thing. That's interesting. Carvel ice cream. You just brought back so many memories.
Definitely
wow.
have it in New York. Grew up with it.
Oh, by the way, we have Aaron Walkie in the audience. Yo, Aaron. And he says Metalis Prime and Denoxy Depot are competing for the title of most full of scum and villainy. I think Metalis Prime has you guys beat. You guys have to up the ante next season and give us a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. But anyway, so Rafi ends up meeting with this character Sneed, and it's really kind of an interesting exchange, and unfortunately she has to succumb to the drugs. He gives her this drug, which by the way is another 12 Monkeys reference. He calls it this particular concoction is called Splinter, and again, I won't go too far into it, but like splintering is the whole thing in 12 Monkeys. Are you laughing, Toddy, because I know all these things? So I'm like paying attention to all these.
We have to do these 12
references.
Monkeys discussions eventually. When Picard
I know,
season
we're gonna
2
do it.
ends,
We're gonna do it when
we'll
Picard season 3 ends. Yeah, but anyways, Sneed is trying to get. He knows all along that Rafi is not who she says she is, and so he's trying to like kind of, get her to confess that, but she won't. She's pretty hardened and a good Starfleet intelligence officer, and she won't be broken. But however, he has Toluco, the crime boss that Rafi says she works for, or the guy that Rafi says she works for, his head in a chest or something like that, and he pulls it out and like he has
at least it's
scene.
Not his eye, right?
Yeah, it's true. Well, and then anyways, so Sneed's like ha ha ha, and then Rafi's like, okay, everything's gone south. She's about to get attacked, but then she attacks Sneed, and then just as she's about to pass out, we hear like a sword beautifully, what would be the word, like chiming as it cuts through, as you hear it cut through people, and you see this like mysterious figure, and then
It's
finally,
Elmo. Oh no, sorry.
it's Elnor.
It's
Come on!
Elnor.
It could have been Elnor, but it's not. It's Worf. The handler is Worf, which everyone suspected, but it's still damn cool.
Complete with the Jerry
With-
Klingon theme.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Dun, dun, dun,
Yep.
dun, dun, dun. And
Yep.
then so anyways, Worf's all like, I told you to disengage, which is great. And then we get back to the Titan, and you know, we're on this face off with Vadic. And I think I forgot to mention that Vadic throws the Elios at the Titan at one point. But
Our
which
chat is very interested. Our chat's been talking about throwing ships. They're paying attention.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm trying to pay attention to the chat too, but you know, gotta do the summary and then I'll pay attention to the chat.
It is a
But,
Star Trek first. It's never been done before.
It's never been done before. There's a lot. I feel like there's gonna be a lot of firsts. But yeah,
The
it's
closest
Any-
it came, because someone mentioned Q, is when Q snapped his fingers and threw the Enterprise D back away from the Borg. That's the closest I think you've seen a ship tossed, so to speak. So
Well, that's
Yeah.
like a different. Yeah, that's like a huge
Yeah.
toss, like comparatively. But yeah, tossed at another ship though. I think
You
this
could
is
come
the
to a
first.
full. You could come to a full stop and like open all the shuttle bays, so like all your shuttles comes flinging out.
yeah,
Well,
It's not a
RIP
toss,
to
but-
I don't think
RIP
that
to
would.
all of
I don't think
Crusher's
that's how
things.
physics. I don't
No?
think
We're
that's
just-
how physics works, and I don't think that's what LaForge meant when she said that one law of physics can break another law of physics. Just
so it's a great
I don't know.
throwback to
Maybe.
Scotty's line. By the way.
But
Well,
yeah,
again,
true.
like, so basically we're assuming all of Crusher's things, all of those great callbacks that we saw, those little, you know,
they're gone.
things, they're gone. Everything in her
Hey,
life,
you could
except her
you
son.
could salvage
gone.
you could salvage a neuron of data from the explosion that happened you know at that nebula. You can definitely
No,
salvage
don't start that shit up
Wesley's-
again.
Wesley's-
They need to go
Wesley's-
back for the mixtape. I mean, really.
Well, but keep in mind, Michelle, that the Enterprise D crashed, and somehow he still has the picture that was in his ready room and a bunch of stuff from. So
This is
you know,
true.
things-
Give me hope, Ken. Give me
Well,
hope.
they
'cause
they
it was super
cloned
sad.
data, so maybe they can clone objects now.
Yeah, yeah. I think she
Right.
probably somebody
Well-
on Twitter said she may have a backup at Daystrom, but we'll see.
Oh, true. Or in the
Yeah.
quantum archive. Who knows? I'm sure Beverly has a little locker
I hope
at
so.
the quantum archive too. But anyway, so she throws the ship. She gives them an hour. We have this cool scene back and forth with Jean-Luc, and he's still ambivalent as to what to do. Time's running out. Shaw's like, all right, I'm gonna call it. Meanwhile, Riker in this awesome scene goes down to sickbay. He's like, all right, I'm taking matters into my own hands. He unsedates Dr. Crusher and brings her up to the bridge, and then sorry, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to maintain myself. So then, you know, Jean-Luc's like kind of given in to the idea that they're just gonna give Jack up, and then the turbolift doors open, and Riker walks out holding Beverly. You could tell she's like in pain, but she's like, you know, she knows what she has to do, and with no dialogue whatsoever, she and Sir Patrick Stewart, Gates McFadden and Sir Patrick Stewart have this beautiful scene together and we know, like, it just gives me goosebumps. Like, we know like what they're saying to each other without saying it, and like in that moment he's like, belay that order, Admiral Overrider, whatever he says, and then he's like, no, we're not gonna do it. And Captain Shaw's like, why are you doing this? And he's like, because he's my son and I lost it. It's so good. And then anyways, Vadic comes back and he's like, you know, she's like, all right, it's time. And he's like, yeah, it's
A
time.
very emotional
Engage.
way to respond to the situation. So if it wasn't his son, he would have been like, "Fine, give the door."
This
Yeah,
is the
so-
question I had.
Wait.
I was like, what? Hang on, Picard.
Anyways, they
What's
go into
going
the
on?
That's not
nebula
a very
deeper into
Picard
the
thing to do.
they go deeper. Come on, it's this son. What would you do if your daughter? Come on, it's different. Anyways, he doesn't know. He's reacting emotionally. You're right, but in a good way. Anyways, he goes. They go into the nebula, and the Shrike chases them, and that's it, right? That's the whole episode. Did I miss anything this time?
That's
Last
it,
time I
with
missed a lot of stuff.
Amanda Plummer's awesome laugh over the end credit, which is fantastic. And there's so much with this episode, yeah. So that was very good, Starfleet Boy.
Thank
Great
you.
summary.
Love this episode. I think I've only seen up to episode 3, so I'm not going to speculate like the rest of you guys are going to, whoever hasn't seen past this episode. But I will just say that each week they do seem to get better, and this is my favorite episode so far. And there's just a lot of delightful moments. So let's get into it. I guess let's let Michelle go first. Michelle, give us your overall thoughts and just some things that stood out in the episode that maybe you want to talk about, and I'll go in the chats and see what folks are saying.
There you go. I mean, I am probably in the minority here. I don't know, but I am a big Picard and Crusher relationshipper. So I have been kind of questioning this season. Like, are they really doing this? Like, they're really they're gonna do this. They're gonna David Marcus this, but better. We're gonna do better than David Marcus. So this episode, I thought there were some parallels between Rafi and Picard and Beverly. Like that idea that Rafi's confronting her past and confronting her, ex-husband and about Gabe, her son, who we didn't hear about in season 2, and wanting to see her grandchild and all that. That was really nicely paralleled to Picard, who probably was very focused on Starfleet. We don't know when Jack happened or when Beverly left yet, so we're going to find out. But I would imagine that Picard, obviously he didn't know about Jack, but he was very focused on Starfleet and his career, and then his vineyard. Like, Jack calls him out on his vineyard. Jack knows who Picard is, and I don't think that Beverly badmouthed Picard. I think Jack figured some things out on his own. I am encouraged because Gates McFadden loves this season. Otherwise, I would be very nervous about the path that they are taking these two down, these epic characters, because Beverly Crusher, I'm a huge Beverly Crusher fan, and she has uttered, like, I don't know what, 4 lines this whole season so far in episodes 1 and 2. But I adore Gates McFadden and her eye acting, Patrick Stewart's eye acting. They're together again. Maybe they'll talk next episode. We'll see. But I think just the whole mystery. And I love Jack Crusher. I love Ed Speleers. I think he's great. I do worry that Wesley's going to get kind of overshadowed because this dude is so dynamic. And
you gotta watch the Ready Room. Poor Will.
I saw it.
So jealous. Oh, okay, he's
I know.
so jealous.
Yeah,
he was really gracious. He was really
episode.
good. Yeah, last episode.
Yeah.
But he's really gracious.
It was so cute to see. They
Speleers.
need. I just can't believe they didn't include Will Wheaton in this season. Like, it seems criminal, especially with this plotline unfolding. But why does Vadic want Jack so badly? I feel like there's obviously something way bigger going on. So, and of course, Worf. I mean, it felt like almost like DS9 again, right? Like he was back in it, and I loved it. I love, I love the Riker Picard stuff. So it was just overall a solid episode, but it keeps they're building. Like, I have to just be patient, because if I'm honest, I'm like, I like last week's a little better, because this one I was like, oh, I feel like I'm really in limbo now.
I agree.
That 1 week wait. Toddy, why don't you go ahead and tell us what you thought next?
I think the reason why I couldn't remember specifics
by the
about
way,
this
I want to interrupt you for just a second because I think Aaron put a date down. You asked in the chat.
So but he put a date, and I was like,
so,
do we? Is it confirmed that he's 21? Because
here's the thing.
The actor is 34.
This is the thing. So Terry Metellus has kind of come out and said it on Twitter. This is not like a season 2 TNG baby. This is definitely
I figured that
post Nemesis.
Yeah.
So Ed Speleers, he's like kind of John Travolta in Grease, like playing high school kid.
He's 34 playing.
Like Speleers is like 34 playing 20 something. I don't know the exact, but I know that Terry's kind of said on Twitter that I believe it's post Nemesis. So he's not. This whole plot line.
I was still like,
I love it, but I'm like,
why she wasn't here.
He's had a rough, edgy life.
Then that would really destroy Beverly's character, because then she didn't tell Picard. I don't know.
Yeah, I think there's a lot that's not there yet.
Yeah, you can't destroy Beverly's character to have the secret baby, and I don't think they did. But I could see why fans are like hating on this plot. I love it, but I also am like, please don't make Beverly the bad guy. After all this time, we want to bring her back. And what was the point of season 2 of Picard? If not, like, Q had to know about Jack. I mean, I mean, I don't know how you're feeling about all this, Toddy, but anybody else?
But yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
What
Toddy,
was the
Toddy,
point
go
of
tell us what
season
you
2
thought
of
of the
Picard is a
episode.
whole other question. Let's put that
Yeah.
aside.
Oh yeah.
No, I think the
let's
reason
put a pin in that.
yeah, I think the reason why I couldn't remember specifics about this episode is because in many ways it's very much like it's the continuation of like the first episode, like tonally speaking, visually speaking. It seems like they're naming these episodes like chapters or whatever it is, but like if this were like the first little bunch of chapters, like I'm assuming like 3 episodes and then another 3 episodes, they'll all have like different kind of vibes to them.
Well,
So
the
this
first
is
4
really like
episodes have the first 4 episodes have an arc, and then the next 4, and then the last 2 episodes which are directed by Terry
the big
Matalas
finale.
are like the big 2-hour kind of
Okay, so that makes sense.
big finale. Yeah.
So that's the feeling that I kind of got watching this, where I was like kind of, I'm not gonna say bumbling through like the middle part of like an arc, but kinda. So I wasn't as hype watching this one as I was with the first one. Like there's not as much like mystery and intrigue, and there's not as much new going on, I guess. Like episode 1 is like, oh, there's all this new stuff, and this one you're kind of like continuing with things that have been introduced. Not the most so I'm not the biggest Beverly fan. I've never thought her to be that
Oh, you have to listen to Crusher Convo. Come on.
okay. I've always found her to be like a little iffy in terms of like being a doctor, and sometimes a little bigoted. She's weird the way they write her. I would enjoy.
You sure Beverly comes across as bigoted?
Yes, she's.
I
very-
think that sometimes she puts her medical ethics above maybe cultural
That's
desire.
interesting. That's
I
interesting.
think we could have a whole conversation
Yeah.
about the ethics.
Yeah, we're gonna
of
have a
Beverly
throwdown here.
I might bring that up in.
No, I'm not
Crusher
doing that.
Convo.
I
Like,
should.
we'll see.
That's awesome.
It's fine.
This is why Crusher Convo exists.
She's not fine with like. It's okay. Whatever. It's a whole thing.
It's okay. We'll talk later.
I think that Beverly. I think the one thing we can agree on is like she didn't get as much love as she should have gotten throughout like TNG's run. I think that they could have written a lot more for her and a lot better stories for her. And I think that if this is going to be like a redemption kind of like story for the character of Beverly, as much as it is like the correct, quote unquote finale to like the TNG cast, I think it has to be done with a delicacy. And I don't know if this is quite delicate for the moment. Like these first 2 episodes.
Episode 2.
Well,
We're still
episode 2 isn't
early days.
yeah, episode 2 isn't, so yeah. I'm just so I'm hesitant. I don't want it to be just a simple kind of like I want to blow the Federation up kind of like story. It's been done. It's been seen before. I enjoy the action. I enjoy like seeing ship shots and all of that, but like that's not so much why I watch Star Trek. I really want to see where they go with all like the character dynamics and the evolution of like their stories and maybe how they end them. Ironically, I think Rafi's the most interesting thing happening in this season so far. In this episode, I loved it, and yeah, Worf, yay. So yeah, I'm a little sad for Elnor. Elnor got abandoned by Picard and then by Rafi, and like no one loves the guy. But it's okay. He'll find someone.
Oh man.
Maybe Mariner will
we'll
make
talk
fun
about-
of him one day.
Mariner will make fun of him one day. Braxton, what do you think of what you saw so far? Because we know you didn't finish it, but I guess through the summer you kind of heard what happens. But if you want to give a little quick thing, you're on mute, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I think
You're
that
welcome.
at the perfect part for me. Like, I stopped watching when Worf came through and like killed all the dudes. That was awesome. I did enjoy this episode more than the first episode, even though I have not seen like the last like 10 minutes or so. I really should start paying for like the version with no commercials, because it just takes me freaking like forever to like watch the show, dude.
I ran a contest, Braxton, to give away Picard subscriptions. I have 3 available because none of my winners wanted it because they already had Paramount Plus and they were like, pay it forward. So I'm gonna give you a month free of Star Trek Picard without commercials. There you
Oh my
go.
gosh, I'm so
You can, I'll tell
fortunate,
you who
dude.
you could thank. Yes, I'll tell you who you could thank later because it was a paid
You're the
forward
one
joke. So
millionth
it's,
user of this
you're
website,
the
Braxton.
yeah, yeah,
Now
exactly.
now I'm gonna
Carry
have
on.
to now I'm gonna have to pause it to go and like get a snack and like give my cats treats instead of just like using the commercial break in order to do it. So a thing that I thought about this episode is that they keep treating my girl Seven of Nine like a doormat. I just absolutely hate it. Um, Also, I was really not looking forward to seeing that the dude is Jean-Luc Picard's son. I was really not looking forward to that storyline, so I'm glad I haven't seen it yet. Um, you know, I really enjoyed Worf. Toddy, I think that you're right that Rafi has the best storyline going so far. I really liked that interaction between her and her ex. I was like, damn, Rafi, too bad you couldn't get it together because that man is fine. Um, but yeah, dude, I liked a
He
good
was
number.
fine. It's
Hmm
Jay was fine. I agree.
like
And
I
it was
like the
it was a very touching scene. We can talk about it more later, but touching, heartbreaking, and touching at the same time, but also mostly heartbreaking. But yeah, it was a good scene. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Carry
Oh
on.
no, that's cool. I totally I loved the Ferengi. Like I felt like his acting was really good. Too bad that he, met his demise at the hands of Worf. Like I totally thought that actor was doing a great job. And I was like, oh yeah, like recurring character, maybe. Nope. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed some things about this episode. I do think that I think as I've told you overall that I don't particularly like the show Picard. Um, I really want them to do better for Seven of Nine. I'm glad that she ended up manipulating the captain so like she could actually like do something. But I don't know. I just hate the way that they're treating Seven of Nine, and then this whole baby thing. Like I don't know. Well, we'll see. But it was solid.
No, I was on mute. Right on. PJ, what did you think overall?
Yeah, it was all right. It wasn't as good as the first episode, I don't find. And yeah, like Toddy said, we're kind of like in the middle of a bigger episode or a bigger story. And this was just about them facing off against Vatic and the Rafi stuff. I don't get why they have a former, a recovering drug addict who's not fully like herself or the way she wants to be. And you kind of feel bad for her because she can't see her granddaughter. I like the fact that you meet her ex and they discuss the situation. And she's given that impossible choice of like, is it your family or your duty? And she chooses duty. And I don't get like, you got this planet Metalis Prime. And yes, the attack happened in District 7 or something. It's in a neighboring district. So, like, I get why she's there to investigate, but I don't see the logic in going up to, like, high-level drug dealers and expecting them to give anything up and to not completely see through you, which, not the first guy, but the Ferengi does. Like, and it's like, what did you expect to happen? And then he forces her to do the drug, which I don't know what kind of drug this is. It makes you feel like you're being ripped apart and pulled back together. I'm like, that doesn't sound fun for anybody. So
It's the future.
yeah, people like pain, I guess. I don't know. But then Worf comes in. That was okay, but it was so quickly. You like intentionally, you're not supposed to really see him. So like it's done in that way, but it was quick and violent. And I know some people I talked to today were like, did he have to kill those people? Shouldn't he have questioned them? And I say no, because in that case, they were going to go to the big fish and say like, yeah, this Rafi girl and Worf are messing around or whatever. And they might target her family. So I completely understand Worf dispatching every witness. So that kind of makes sense. And he's Worf, so he's killed before. Like we know this. It's just that in the older shows, they couldn't really show the extent of the violence. And when think about it, when Klingons go out to like kill some fools, it's not going to be pretty, and they portrayed in a very reasonably realistic way. So that was okay. Okay, this stuff about his son. I just recently last night I watched Bloodlines.
Oh, Vigo. Not
every-
Vigo. What's his name? Jason Vigo, right? Isn't it Jason Vigo?
Jason
The
Vigo.
son?
Jason Vigo.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, carry on.
And I'm finding, and I think I'm going to find with every episode, that each episode will remind me of either one or two TNG episodes, a couple of movies. So this one was like kind of like Bloodlines, and I don't mind that he has a son. We kind of like, everybody guessed that, really, at the end of the first episode. It wasn't really that big of a mystery, but still people are holding out hope that it might not be the case. I think to reveal it now and then to later say like, oh, he's not like Jason Vigo in that episode would just be like a real kick in the balls. So they shouldn't do that.
Real deal. Yeah, I think it's the
They
real
should. It should. And I don't want him to turn bad or anything. Like I don't want him to be a secret bad guy that Picard has to face off against, which was one of my theories. But I want him to be good. I don't want any twists and turns in that department. Shaw, I'm starting to wonder about him. He's so stern about you're a retired admiral and you're a captain without a ship. I run the show. This is my ship. In the first episode, and in the second one, he's all like, I'm not going to go and rescue them. Okay, I'll go and rescue them. Okay, I'm going to give up the kid. Oh, is your son? Well, I'm going to acquiesce and just let Picard take over now without really any objection. There's something to that. He either has sympathy for Picard because maybe he lost his dad or something, but I don't know. I don't trust Shaw completely, even though he's like turned around now and like he's kind of good. That makes me suspicious, like how he just said, okay, we'll keep him and we'll go into the nebula. Amanda Plummer, my last point, was really good. She's like chewing the scenery, camping it up.
gobbling that scenery sometimes.
I just like, I like her demeanor. My big complaint is that this has to have the most smoking I've ever seen in any Star Trek episode. You see people smoke everywhere on the streets. The Ferengi smoking, she's smoking in every scene. It's like, I don't know, just feels too contemporary in that sense. But otherwise, it was a fun, okay episode. I'm just holding out hope that it gets better as it goes, because I don't want to spend the entire third episode in this nebula doing a remake of Wrath of Khan. Like, just get that out of the way and let's move on. Let's see Geordi and his daughter and Laura. I'm banking on nostalgia way too much. So like when I start to get bored, I'm like, where's Worf? Where's Geordi? And Worf was there, but like,
it can't be a
More of
remake
that
of the
place.
Wrath of Khan though, because there's a secret son we've never heard about. Oh no, wait.
yeah.
Kirk knew about, just FYI, Kirk knew about David Marcus. Picard did not know about Jack Crusher, so it's a little bit different.
Oh, there's a
in that regard.
nuance.
There's a lot of nuances actually.
Maybe
We can
he's
go into them in
maybe
detail.
maybe he's the son of Beverly and the Space Ghost. Is that?
Can I just
Well,
say,
that's
can I
what-
just say
so-
one
Nope,
more?
let's not bring that up, please.
I forgot to mention one more thing about the Jack Crusher stuff. They spend the whole episode kind of is he Picard's son, hinting at it, and then at one point Shaw's like, well, how do we even know it's Beverly's son? It's all of this stuff that's delayed for dramatic effect, so you can have that wordless exchange at the end. But it's all done. Like all they had to do was just scan him and Beverly and Picard, like boop boop beep beep boop boop.
No,
I mean,
but we know
they
from
were all
the
You know
scanned
who
when
the
they were
father
being
is and
dumb
who the
anyway.
mother is.
Yeah, but
But they were
the
scanned when
very
they were
same
being dumb.
Anyway, they
episode,
delay that
the-
for dramatic effect. I get it, but it's annoying.
But
It's-
also with Jason Vigo, remember he read the DNA
done.
read as Picard's son, but it was because Damon Bach had manipulated Jason's DNA, so that could still be a situation like that is going on with Jack Crusher. So that's why that wouldn't be a definitive test, and that's why I think that's why Jean-Luc,
Well,
who had the experience before,
having gone through that
was like,
situation,
wait,
wouldn't they know what to look for in that sense? In that
but
way?
he's like that's
The
why I think that's
accent.
why he's
The
like
accent
yeah,
is the-
accent is
Let's
the
do a
giveaway.
microcellular
Confirmation.
analysis type of thing.
The accent
quick,
will
I
be
just wanna-
explained. The accent
The
will be
accent will-
explained.
I wouldn't be surprised
I
if they
do-
never explained it. If they just left
I
it
think
alone.
Terry
Terry
said they
said
would. Terry
they
said
would
they
explain
Oh,
it.
okay.
Aaron,
all right.
Aaron says just
We
wait
should
until
have given him like a
9
thick
hours.
French accent, and it's like, wait a minute,
He
Where
did
did
say
you get
mon
that?
ami. Did
He
you
said
catch
mon
that?
ami. He said mon ami. It's true. Just wait till the Bynards return triumphantly bearing the Cerberus candle. It's going to be
Oh,
epic.
no.
I think that's funny because in the episode, Jean-Luc was saying like that that he was accused of terrorizing the the Vinars. That Jack, how do you terrorize the Vinars? I guess it's easy to terrorize them. They're pretty uptight, I think.
My co-host Jesse would really, really give me a hard time if I didn't like say, "Listen, we get Sub Rosa happened. It's a very misunderstood episode. We did a Crusher convo on it. It's actually kind of serious for some of us, like not like in the plot sense, but in the like what they're talking about in the episode." So I kind of, on Jesse's behalf, I say no. It not a ghost, anaphasic light form, and was not involved in Jack's creation. There you go, Jesse. I hope that sufficed.
Excellent. Ken, highlights of this episode for you.
Yeah, I thought first of all, I think the production is incredible, right? And the callbacks, like when the Titan comes in, is very reminiscent of when the Enterprise comes in to save the Defiant in First Contact. Just some of the way that they do the scenes,
Like the music
it's
even
just-
has a kind of like a nice flair in it. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. The music, you know, for those who know me, you know, I'm a really big music guy when it comes to soundtracks, and they're just doing wonderful things with the callbacks on the music side. It is clearly sort of a middle episode. And so, you know, if I hadn't heard all of the folks who have seen further on from this episode say things like, "This is the best Star Trek ever, just hang in there," then I would be a little nervous, because I think that they are, you know, if you just look at this episode and you look at what is going on with Picard and with Crusher, and with Jack, it's a little bit like, what are they doing to our legacy characters here? But you have to have faith.
Or
that
a shipper's
Terry Matalas-
dream, Ken. I mean, really. I don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Faith of the
I'm
heart.
sorry.
Right.
I apologize.
No, it's
No,
true.
it's
And
fine.
you have to have faith in that Terry Matalas is taking us on a grand Star Trek adventure. People who have hated, frankly, everything that Paramount Plus has put out, love, you know, Star Trek Picard season 3, and they've seen the first 6 episodes. So I am willing to give it the go. And but there were, if you take this episode in isolation, yes, there are some concerning things about what are they doing with these characters, right? I also think, though, that I agree with you, Toddy, that Rafi, it's quite a phenomenal arc for Rafi. You know, Michelle Hurd is doing a great job. And I think you're building towards a Rafi spinoff continuation. I think you're going to see Rafi in 7 of 9. I really,
Or they're gonna
which I
kill
think-
her at the end, and that's why they're
Jesus
doing
No, I
a
don't-
great season. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't think they're going to do that. I do think, you know, I think we're
Half
going to
a
see some
OD? How
death.
dreadful.
Yeah.
No,
right.
that's not how they would kill her, Toddy. Shame on you. Anyways, carry on.
Shame on
Yeah.
you.
So, I mean,
Shame.
overall, yeah, shame.
Sorry,
shame,
Ken. Sorry,
shame.
Ken. Go ahead.
No problem. Overall, I thought that it was really great. Amanda Plummer, fantastic. And then the callbacks, you know, sort of the under the radar callbacks to her father's role as Klingon, as Chang, the same chair, the same spinning, you know, just the little things that Star Trek fans look for and find. It's not fan service. Like, that's what I really like about this so far in a lot of ways, is that, yes, there's a lot of great callbacks with the music, with the presentation, with all of this, but it's not straight up fan service. But yes, I also agree they could have said a lot earlier, hey, this kid's DNA seems to match these 2 people. Why are you waiting to the last second? Right. I think that's part of that again, it's dramatic effect. Jonathan Frakes continues to knock it out of the park. He's fantastic. And to be, you know, I argued that he stole last week's episode, and I think he's did a great job stealing this week's episode. I think that Todd Stashwick is doing a fantastic job. I agree that Captain Shaw is, you know, a challenging character, but there are characters looking all the way back through the original series, where you've got captains and admirals and commodores that are doing some questionable things. I was just watching Star Trek 3 the other day, and the great line from Captain Styles, how can you have a yellow alert in space dock? You could hear Captain Shaw saying something very much like that. So, there's a legacy to having this character act that way. And then the line that that Vedic throw out and said, your psychological profile, it's a good thing so there is something going on that she's aware of with Captain Shaw. He's a very complex character. And I really like the way that he's going. And I do like that, he basically does acquiesce, and he's like, God damn it. All right, let's go. That's just a great thing, and hands it over to Picard. And when Picard puts his hand, two interesting moments with hands. When Picard puts his hand on Shaw's shoulder at the end is a very interesting moment. And when Beverly comes in and leans against the railing, I thought just Gates McFadden, who is a fantastic actress, of course, but she's very good with movement. She focuses on movement and dance and all that stuff. You could see her when she comes in. She leans on that railing, the bridge railing. She puts her head down, and you see her eye act in the way. She does it better, frankly, than Patrick Stewart did. And I think, while, yes, it's true that Gates McFadden's only said 4 lines, that moment was all her. And what she could communicate. And I was watching it with a roommate of mine, and he was saying, is she going to say anything? And I said, she's saying a lot right there. Just watch. It was just really an amazing scene. So all props to Gates McFadden. Overall, I do think it's a middle episode. I think that there are some plots hanging. There's some things going on that, it's not an episode that stands by itself by any means. And I think you just got to see where it goes next. But, that's sort of my...
I don't know that we're going to get any standalone episodes. I wonder. That's an interesting idea.
It's heavily serialized, but
yeah.
Some arcs will...
You're going to take this like a movie, right?
Some parts will fit, wrap itself... Like some stories will wrap themselves up and will get answers, but there will be other bigger things, bigger fish to fry, basically, is what I've heard. But, I mean... I've heard so much about the 4th episode being some kind of wow.
I haven't heard anything about the 4th one except that also. Marcelo, thank you for waiting so patiently. What was that? What was that?
I don't want to know. Marcelo, I don't want to know anything.
I don't want to know either. Well, I kind of do. I'm with in our audience, Galen 209. Was pointing out that it's kind of the only issue is not having the episodes to binge, but at the same time I do have to say it is kind of once you binge on Netflix, then you're oh, now what, you forget it too easily. I think I ultimately, even though it's frustrating, I like the fact that we have to wait to get the next episode.
I'm gonna go on a small tangent. I have somewhat...
Can you let Marcelo go for... Oh, go ahead. So, go ahead.
Yeah, Marcelo.
Somewhat adjusted my opinion when it
Nobody
comes
likes me, so go ahead.
Oh,
we all love
no.
you.
No, it's fine. If I go. No. Actually, that one was for me, but go ahead.
No, I used to be very firmly on the camp of I don't like binge watching because I don't like the competition of everyone trying to get to see the whole season. And I like having a week to discuss it. You can think it over, talk. And I won't speak about The Last of Us, but there are 2 episodes that are very much kind of the same arc. And it made more sense because I watched them both. I skipped a week and I watched them both together. And it made more sense from a flow and from a narrative standpoint to watch those. So I would kind of be inclined to say that if they're doing 4 episodes that are kind of the same story, you can deliver those 4 in one chunk. We take in that story and then we take in the next part of the story. That could make sense for me. So there you go.
All right, Marcelo, you're up. Batter up.
Okay. So first thing I want to say, the captain of the Titan, he is I wish this was Starfleet Boy After Dark. He is a spineless jellyfish. I want to murder that man so much. I really hope that at a point in this season, I hope that 7 clocks his face off. I hate that man with the power of 1,000 suns. I don't care what Terry writes for him, although I do think what Terry's going to write for him is going to be good, but I gotta detest that man. Okay. Oh,
I think that's
okay.
what he wanted you to feel, maybe. But anyways, carry on.
Okay. No, I thought. Look. All right. I'm calm now. I do think that this episode for me was a little bit lackluster. I liked the first episode a lot more because I kind of knew from the get that this kid was going to be Jean-Luc Picard. I think that was sort of telegraphed. I think a lot of people saw that coming a mile away. I do think that at the end of the season, I do think that Beverly and Jean-Luc are going to finally get together. Thank God. I've been waiting forever for it to happen. So I think that's going to go down. I'm really not digging the things that Terry's doing with Rafi. But that being said, I've never liked Rafi in the first place. So this is the first season where I can stand Rafi, and I don't want to punch her in the face.
That's a win.
It's a win.
That is a hot take. That is a hot take.
Wow.
Yeah.
Marcelo, you need to be more sensitive. Talk about punching female characters in the face. Dude. Get it together.
These are characters. These are not real people. No, but the thing is, look,
he wants to punch everyone in the face. Marcelo,
no,
come
but
on, just have a little zen here. Come on, let's like not.
Okay,
do
but I'm not.
violence tonight.
I'm not done yet. I'm not done.
Carry on.
I'm not done. I do think. I do think that the big bad lady, I can't remember her name, Vedic, I think, right? Vedic,
yeah.
Vedic. For me, she was a little bit over the top, but I think that was the point. I don't think that she is the big bad of the season. I think that she's a puppet. I think that somebody is holding her strings. I don't know if that's Lore or somebody else that we've seen before in the canon. If it's somebody else that we've seen before in the canon, I think that'll be good. This episode was great. I was just really pissed off with the captain of the Titan. I think that guy is unforgivable, insufferable.
I mean, that's fair.
Jerkbag. And I want Seven to level him so badly.
I think you'll get you won't get a punch or a level, but I think you'll get a good moment. I hope you do. Yeah.
I do think that Seven at the end of this season, I think that she's going to leave Starfleet, because although it's very, very nice to see Seven in a Starfleet uniform proper, I don't think that she fits there. I think that she fits better as a Fenless Ranger. It was really great seeing Worf again, although I saw that one coming a mile away. So, whatever. I kind of want to take Rafi out of the season, and I want to insert Wesley Crusher as a traveler and have him do everything that Rafi is doing, but cooler, because he's a traveler and he can do all sorts of funky, wacky things.
Well, then you want to read Coda. You want to read the final trilogy of the TNG.
That's true.
Yeah.
I've got to read Coda. Everyone keeps referencing it with this season of Picard, so that's
it's big, and it kind of, there's some parallels.
Yeah, I really like that moment, that final moment when Will goes and gets Beverly out of sickbay, and Beverly comes onto the bridge, and her and Picard have that moment. I really, really liked that. I understood what Terry was doing there. But that being said, I really wish she would have said something, because it's kind of pissing me off that she's only said like 4 lines. I'm like, come on, you're Beverly Crusher, say something for God's sakes. But
she'll have a lot of lines.
Other than that, I thought this episode was like a lot of you have said, this episode was an interesting step. Although I'm not nervous, because I trust in Terry Matalas, because I believe in that man after watching 12 Monkeys. So I have faith that he's going to execute this story that he set out to do properly, and he's going to pay respect to my beloved TNG characters, not like some other writers have done in the past.
Like, what do you mean, like Nemesis or something?
No, I
Like,
wasn't talking
the
about
last
that,
time
but I'll just leave it there.
Well, the last time they were all together was then, right? So, but anyway.
No,
Okay.
but I'm talking about Picard in general. That
In general, I see. Okay.
yeah,
I
but I won't.
see.
I won't go there.
Yeah, we already talked about it.
Wow,
once
Marcelo,
in-
it's nice to
in
meet you. You're
previous
very
discussions.
understated. You're very understated.
Well, no, I mean, Captain up here will tell you I'm usually a lot nicer, but it's just moments like this where I just want to go.
This show gets
Yeah.
him wound up for sure.
Yeah,
I want to highlight something that's a discussion that's been going on in the audience.
We need
I
to
wanna get
balance. We need
your-
to balance it out because you're too hype about this show. So we need people to like settle you down a bit.
I had to bring in the pain. So
Yeah,
Wow.
We need some Saurian
Hey,
brandy.
hey. I'm doing what
can't
Sir
be
Patrick
giving
Stewart
these
said.
episodes 15s out of 10s all the time. Like
I'm doing what Sir Patrick Stewart said, and I'm listening more than I'm talking. But in the audience, there's an interesting discussion about the chain of command. They're wondering in episode 1, Shaw basically says, "You're a retired admiral. You have no authority here. You're not the sitting captain of this ship. You have no authority here." But later in this episode, Admiral Picard pulls out his rank and says, "Belay that order," and even Shaw acquiesces and does it. And I think it was Aaron Walkie in the audience says, "Well, Starfleet's a volunteer organization, and this makes sense in the future. Like, I imagine when you step onto a ship, like the computer just knows, like, oh yeah, this is the highest authority on here." And so even as a retired admiral, I imagine you still have like honorific or honorary authority. So even if it's not exactly, like he's not active at the moment, maybe in that moment, he has the authority to like, make decisions like that or do overrides. Cause I mean, like, you're an admiral, like, like whether you're a good admiral or a bad admiral, it doesn't matter. Like,
Was it because of the
an admiral, and it's like,
circumstances?
yeah.
Like they were in dire circumstances, so he had the authority, whereas wanting to redirect the ship really wasn't his call.
I think
but
he could have flexed
Yeah.
that.
it was a
card at
combat
any time he
situation.
I think he could have
Yeah,
flexed
but-
that card at any time he wanted, but he chose not to out of respect for Shaw. I think the way he does
And
it
just
in
let
that
Beverly
scene-
die. Oh gosh.
well, no, but you know what I'm saying? Like I think he's been holding back because you kind of have to let a captain or a skipper like command, right? Like otherwise, like that's
Right.
the same thing that Kirk does in Enterprise B. Like he's sitting on his hands until Captain Harriman finally says, "Captain Kirk, will you please help?" Like that's the moment when he jumps into action, and then he's phenomenal, of course. But
He's
like,
invited
it's
to
a-
it. Yeah.
right. He's invited to. Here, though, Jean-Luc is not invited. It is impactful to me because he waits this long to do it. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Well, I was
and
thinking
I
of
think, yeah.
Star Trek: The Motion Picture, right, with Kirk and Decker, and how Kirk kind of just takes over almost immediately
was
once the
active-
danger, right?
Right. Yeah, but he wasn't.
Well,
he
he
was an
got-
active. Yeah, he was also an active admiral, not a retired.
Not
admiral,
retired,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah, he was not retired.
yeah, but the thing about Kirk versus Picard is that Kirk has always been a cowboy. Picard has always been the guy that's going to give you some space. If Kirk wants something, he'll just come and take it. Picard isn't that guy unless he has to be.
I'm just
But-
speculating here, but what if, when Picard says, belay that order, LaForge, and lock it all down, and Shaw's like, okay, because the information now is that, oh, this is my son, that's why we're not giving. If it was just Beverly's son, it was okay, give him away. But
Yeah,
let
it
him
kind
go.
of
But
rang a little scary to me that he would be willing to just give the son over. No, like it didn't have to be that, right? Like it's
well,
just.
I'm just
I think it's
speculating. I
because they
don't know. I
don't
don't know
know.
anything. But what if Shaw is like, he acquiesces, like we say, to doesn't object to Picard because he maybe there's something about a father not giving up a son. Maybe that has some kind of connection to him, like maybe something happened with his parents on a ship during Wolf 359. Which, by the way, there are clues in the end credits. Now, people
There
are just
are.
speculating on these clues. They don't know, but there's like the holodeck 10 forward stuff, and it's like, what?
Well,
It's
we
like
saw
there's all
his
these little
evaluation
things
was on
that
there.
are gonna
It was
play
blacked
out.
but it was on there. His
Yeah.
like psych
But
eval
you have-
shows up.
My speculation
He
of the
has a shady
holodeck.
past.
Yeah, he has a shady past. My speculation.
Yeah, there's all
of the
kinds of
holodeck-
little stuff.
Yeah.
Is the Moriarty stuff?
Well, that was some Moriarty stuff, but my speculation with the holodeck, I said on one of Starfleet Boy Spaces, and I'm gonna, I think Jean-Luc Picard is gonna go into the holodeck in a very difficult situation. It's galaxy-shattering stuff, and he needs advice, and so he goes into the holodeck and he calls up Captain James T. Kirk, and William Shatner comes back.
Oh my God, that would be crazy.
I've heard this theory, and I'm interested to see if it
Yep.
comes.
I like the theory.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
I've heard it from you,
Of course-
Ken. From
Make a
you.
difference.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Of course, I like the theory, but in a way, I feel like this is the next
Oh.
generation's goodbye. Like I don't know. Well, maybe it's like a Colonel Worf thing. I don't know.
Kirk didn't get
I
a
mean,
good
if you
goodbye
had-
either. So,
If you had,
Some people think that Kirk didn't get a
Yeah.
good vibe.
He needs to
It's true
call up
story.
Admiral Janeway.
Dude,
Well,
what
sorry.
if it's
Mhm.
what if it's
yeah, bring
Yeah.
Janeway back.
what if it's
I
what
don't
if
think
it's
I
not
don't think you will though, because
what
she's
if
got
it's
Prodigy.
not Kirk? What if it's
Picard
not
would have gotten
Janeway?
Voyager killed.
What if it's
What if it's Sulu?
like no? What if it's like Benjamin Sisko?
That would be pretty cool too.
That would be cool.
Well, I think-
Actually,
we would have heard something if it was that. I mean, I don't know.
I think
But
I think what Terry
anyway,
would tell
that
us-
couldn't be kept secret.
if it was Shatner, you mean?
I mean, no,
I think there's
Avery
no
Brooks.
other.
Avery Brooks.
Yeah.
That would have been.
our friend.
I think there's
Aaron
less of a
Harvey-
chance of Avery Brooks. I think there's more of a chance of William Shatner than Avery Brooks, to be honest,
Yeah.
appearing in
I
the
think
Trek
because
at
there's
all.
not very many, get William Shatner to come back and do Captain Kirk one more time would be a big gigantic feather in Terry Metalis' hat. And I think, CBS does have the money, but we'll have to see. As for what you guys were saying with Admiral Picard, in that scene where he says Admiral's orders. So imagine this is a Starfleet hero and you've got a crew. It's like if George Washington or someone from the historical past were on the bridge of a ship and he suddenly gets and says, "We're doing this." I mean, you have this larger than life character who has this amazing history, Starfleet history, and he finally raises his voices and says, "All right, we're going." People are going to pay attention, right? I think that's kind of what
Yeah, I
happened.
agree.
It could be simpler than that, though, because, in a sense, Shaw expressed that he doesn't even. It's not even confirmed that this guy is Beverly's son. So to him, it's just a
What do
random
you mean?
dude.
That's confirmed.
No, but,
that's
in
confirmed
his-
at the end
in
of
his
this.
mi-
Oh,
In his-
Shaw.
he
you're
was
talking about-
doubting it.
right,
He was
right,
doubting it.
Right.
In his
right,
mind,
sorry, yeah.
up until the point where it's confirmed that it's the son of
right.
those two, to him, it's just some random guy. But then
Random
when
dude.
it becomes
and all the evidence
when it
points
becomes
to
the
him
son
being
of
like a-
officers and it becomes like an official Federation civilian, I don't know, maybe there's a status thing that you get. They're like, okay,
Maybe.
now we can save the dude, right?
Well, it's a bad look, just like it would have been a bad look to let Picard and Riker die, right? So go to save the heroes. Don't let the hero's son die. I guess that's part
Yeah.
of it.
Shaw's just like, forget it. My ship is not mine anymore. He's
No,
just
but
like,
the thing
forget
is-
it. He's like, it's on you, Picard.
given up. He's given
Like,
up.
That's
No.
it. Yeah, he's like,
Like you've commented it twice.
Now I
Exactly.
hate Shaw.
I'm gonna go
I,
have lunch.
I
No, but
hate
the
what
thing
Shaw
is-
is doing to Seven, but I have
No.
to say, Shaw. I felt for Shaw. Like if you look at this through Shaw's eyes, like Picard's kind of the Badmiral here. He kind of
Yeah.
comes on.
Yeah.
He takes out. He's using his resources. He's taking over his ship. It's like a mirror universe almost, if you look at it that way. But Shaw was hilarious in this episode too. I guess we're a hotel now. Like I
Yeah.
felt a lot of his lines. I don't like him, but I was really I was shockingly feeling for Shaw at
He's
some
written
points
well.
in terms of his frustrations.
Well, we
And space has
compared
no
we compared
corners.
Shaw to like Picard in season 1, like in our previous discussion.
Mm.
And like imagine you've been following Shaw for like these 2 seasons. You kind of now relate with it. Like he's a hard ass, but and then this random cyborg dude comes on your goddamn ship and he's like, "I'm taking your ship. We're going to the nebula." It's like, nah, dude, you don't even know where the starbase
What
is.
if-
Come on, get a grip.
Kevin Richardson says, "What if Picard is the Badmiral?"
Right?
Mind blown.
He's the Badmiral in this season.
But no, because the
But-
robots can't be bad.
But Shaw is just horrible. Like, there's a definite sinister quality to Shaw. Can we just say that? There's
Yeah, I mean,
sinisterness to Shaw.
I would
I do
say-
not like him
I
as a
would have
person,
loved
but
Shaw and like Mirror Lorca just having discussions.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting. Going
That's a
back
heck
to
of a
Kirk
poker
for a
game,
second,
right?
this is what I want to see. I want to see William Shatner appear on the show, yes, but as Kelvin Kirk, older.
you think they
Like,
give him a script,
that-
or he they just let him tell a
That-
story?
I think that would be new. I think it would be neat.
Song about a tree. Yeah.
But I don't see how they can do it. I mean, I like the holodeck idea that Ken proposed. I'm not gonna put too much stock in it because I love Captain Kirk, but and of course I would love that scene probably if it happened, and I'm sure they'd pull it off right. But I also at the same time I kind of don't want Captain Kirk. Isn't that weird for me to say this? I was all for Captain Kirk in Strange New Worlds, but I'm like I kind of don't want
Sulu and Kirk in the same scene. That would be like the impossible win.
But it's not their. They got their goodbye. It's like
I know.
time for they got their moments. Like it'd be cute. Like I wouldn't.
Well, but
hate
remember
it, but,
those.
it's
Remember
like...
those Starfleet Boy. Picard and Kirk met
Had it
in the next.
Yeah, it's true.
And Picard
Yeah.
really respects
We remember.
Kirk.
It did not go well.
Well, when Lower Decks gets its reunion in 37 years, we can bring back Riker and right? Come on.
Fine. That's a good point.
Lower Decks is it's like The Simpsons. Lower Deck will still be on in 37 years and they'll all look the same.
Prodigy will still be on in 37 years. I guarantee you that.
Going back to the end credits, you may or may not see Kirk. I doubt it, but just pay attention to the ships they show.
Mm-hmm.
In
The Enterprise
saying,
A.
just pay
Enterprise is
attention-
one of them. Voyager was one of them.
Enterprise A, which conceivably could still be around in some museum somewhere.
Like where Geordi is manning the Starfleet, whatever
Something
that
like
was.
that, maybe.
museum.
I don't know.
It's the Fleet Museum, and
Mhm.
it's in Ethan Prime, and Ethan is another 12 Monkeys reference to a really cool character, the Witness. Well, I don't want to give away any spoilers, but anyways, go check it out.
So what did you think the moral of the episode was? Like the needs
That's a
of the
good
one
question,
outweigh
PJ.
the needs of the many, or
Save
the
your
two,
son.
or-
It was totally that. I was thinking that too,
It's like
PJ.
save your kid.
Yeah.
It's a Fast and Furious thing. Family.
Shaw's a dick.
Oh, it's all about family.
It's always it's a bald man that had a son with another woman that's want to save his son. It's Fast and Furious. It's the same thing.
And it turns out Jason Momoa was there during the events of Nemesis, and we didn't know it.
He was there the whole time. Incredible.
Good grief. So overall, it seems like you guys really liked the episode with a few, questions and qualms here and there. We're getting a little past the hour, and I want to give enough time for everyone to kind of like get ready for the Twitter Spaces that are going on tonight. But is there anything you guys wanted to talk about? Also, audience, is your time that we didn't talk about that you might want to hear our opinions on that we didn't go over yet. You can go first, Toddy, because you were going to say something.
I have kind of like a comment, and then maybe it's a question. I don't know, but I'm trying to reconcile everything that I know that is going to happen in this season with what we've seen so far. Because we've got Lore, and we've got the return of Moriarty, and then there's like I don't know. There's like so many things and so many like little pieces, and I'm like, how is this all like? Everything seems so. I'm not gonna say small in scale because it is like a big revenge story, but like there's not much has happened, right?
We don't know. What
And there's not
story
that
is
many
yet. We do
characters,
know-
and there's just like 2 ships and Nebula, and it's like I don't know how all of that is gonna play in, like
Well, what
into
about the
it. And
Puma
I'm
Yeah.
trying to.
I
don't
think
I'm
we
trying
know
to
what we're in the
wrap my-
setup phase, Toddy. Like, if you're watching
Yes,
a movie,
but you're
like
already
imagine if
2
you're watching a
episodes
10-hour movie,
into
there's
a
like
10-episode season.
Yeah, 1/5 of
I
the
know.
way.
So that's
It's,
why
it's going along.
that's
It's
why
just happening in a very
yeah.
short period of time. Actually,
Guys,
like,
this is the wind up. You gotta
the wind
you gotta
up.
give
Exactly.
you gotta give Terry a minute
enough.
to wind up
I just
before he
don't want
whacks you in the
everything.
face.
I don't
for
want
something
everything
awesome.
crammed in all of a sudden.
I almost
right?
wish
It's
I
like,
could
oh,
just
this,
avoid it
this,
for
this,
3
this.
weeks and then binge 3 episodes and be like, oh my god.
This is
But
why
I
they
can't do
gave.
it. I can't
I'm
do it.
convinced now. This
You're
is
not
why
gonna
they
do that,
gave
PJ.
screener
Nope.
6 episodes. It was a 6-episode screener because you really need those 6 episodes to process what's going on and not be like, wow, they really left us hanging, or I'm not so sure about this. Like, you need to see the majority of the product to see where it's
Yeah.
going. So
Because
I
if they
think
had shared just 2, everyone would have been like,
they should have dropped
Same
2 at a
old.
time.
I
That
get,
would have been.
I get a
think,
kick out of the people who
Just
have
the
6
comedy.
episodes and haven't watched them. That's what blows my mind. You have the 6 episodes and you're like, no, I'm just going to
Yeah,
go week by
see,
week. It's like, what
you-
was the
what
point of
is
Paramount
wrong with
giving
you?
them to you?
You
Like,
know who you're
I don't
talking
get it.
about is Fathery from
I'm not.
Tex
I'm not talking about.
Records, isn't he?
No, I'm not talking about
No,
anybody
I'm
specific.
talking about it. I'm talking about him. He can wait. He has a great.
I know.
amount
He has
of,
patience. He has so much
yeah.
patience.
Yeah,
I
shout out
would.
to
If I had
Touch
those
Track, by
6
the way.
episodes, I'd be like,
Okay,
Yeah,
in the
no.
defense of those people
Done in a day.
that do that, in the
Yeah, me
defense,
too. I would have watched them all. Like,
there is a thing. There is like a thing about all of us watching it together, right? Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
the community watches it together. You like it,
Yeah,
you don't
it's a
like
lot of
it,
fun.
whatever your conclusion is. It's fun. We all watch it. We all talk about it. You know.
Yep.
So I understand.
Agree.
yeah, I agree. It
I
is more
do
fun
have-
this way.
I do have one positive thing to say about Rafi.
Oh.
I found one.
wow,
I dug one
wow.
into my
Dug
soul.
one
I
up.
got one. I got one.
Hey, when
I liked how Terry gave Rafi some dimension and some well worth needed character development, because in season 1 and season 2 Rafi has just been known as the alcoholic druggie, and that's all we know about her. And she's
That's
a
not
and she's
all
a
we know about.
Well-
her,
Wait,
Marcelo.
I'm not done.
Sorry.
Let me talk,
All right,
Captain. I'm
carry
not
on.
done.
Okay,
I'm not
carry
done.
on, carry on.
Wait for it.
Belay that thought. No, I'm just
Wait!
kidding.
Marcelo's the admiral here. All right.
Sorry,
Wait.
carry on.
No, seriously.
Carry on.
seriously.
Yes, sir.
For me personally, and listen, you can have different opinions, but for me personally, Rafi in season 1 and 2 was just one note to me, and she was always the one who disrespected Picard, the one who drank a lot, and the one who smoked a lot, and she was never given a valid reason for her behavior. But I think Terry did in one scene what I wanted Akiva Goldsman and Michael Chabon to do in 2 seasons. So that is a big thank you, Terry.
What did they do?
2
What did
episodes.
he do?
In
What
2 episodes.
specifically did do that no one else did? What was the
No,
thing that
I know, but I
Rafi-
think
that changed
but
for you
but
with Rafi?
but the thing look the thing that
You're still
Terry
not
did.
answering my question. I'm being
No, I'm
It's
gonna
a
answer it right
feeling.
now.
He's
I'm
feeling.
gonna,
Okay.
I'm gonna answer it right now. I feel that Akiva Goldsman and Michael Chabon sort of gave Rafi these characteristics, but they didn't really do a good job of explaining They didn't do a good job of showing us why she is the way she is, and I think that in one scene Terry sort of took all my problems with that and said, okay, you want to know why Rafi is the way that she is? Here, take this. And I'm like, thank you. I believe it now.
What
I
is-
get it now.
What is it though? What is this? Here,
No, that
what-
no,
what
that
is
no,
the
no,
this?
no. The moment where the moment when she was talking to her husband and she chose Starfleet over her
okay.
family. She chose Starfleet
that's
over
what-
her.
That's her arc all along. That's been evidence since season 1, since season
Yeah,
2, Marcelo.
to
But it was
elaborate-
something that's been for a big part of her character all along.
Where?
That's nothing
Where?
new.
Tell me
All
where.
along, like she Gabe calls her out on it at the hospital and says, "Yeah, you always chose this over us. Like it's your conspiracies and blah 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 blah." In season 1, and
Yeah, there was
so,
a whole
yeah,
scene between her and her son at the hospital when.
Yeah,
I must have blacked out then, because
yeah.
That's
'cause
they
you
make
hate the
reference to it
yeah,
in this
I blacked
episode.
out.
Okay, go back and watch
But
it
I
because,
thi- I-
because I didn't like Rafi in the beginning, and I even
Yeah.
thought that like her acting was kind of iffy in the first episode, and then I was very much convinced because she grew into the character a lot, and that scene sold me on Rafi, and it sold me on Michelle Hurd.
I think she's been a poorly handled character in the first 2 seasons. In the first season, she's smoking the snake leaf and she's drinking a lot. And when she gets on
she's
when she
poorly
gets on La Serena, they take her out of her quarters loaded drunk to use her and then just throw her back in her quarters. They do
She's very-
restrict her alcohol and stuff like that, but they don't the characters around her except for Rios don't really seem to care about her all that much. The second season she's like Elnor's like her son for some reason, and she's all messed up over his death and like yelling at Picard. Now this season they're finally giving her something, but at the same time it's like you're putting her in a situation where she has to pretend to buy drugs or do drugs and stuff.
I think
and then this one she's actually forced to do it. And I'm like, you're really doing this woman dirty. And if you don't give her that redemption arc where she at the end of the season she hugs her granddaughter and like she starts to make amends with her son, I'm gonna be very upset because they need to give her like some relief. Like,
She
she's been
deserves-
put through
she
the
deserves
ringer,
better.
dude.
I
She's
think
the only
it's-
character that has a job at the moment, and that's actually doing something on the show, right? Everyone else is just
I
dicking
think
around.
that part of the problem too is
Dicking
that
around.
this is trying to like play on some real world stuff, and this is the reality
Yeah,
for some
yeah.
people who go into jobs like this, and they have to. They can maybe fall into addiction, but they still have this job. You hear a lot of maybe drinking or even drugs with these kind of professions, and it's kind of maybe I'm sure there's a lot of people that can relate to being put in bad situations by authority. Like, again, I'm not so thrilled with the Starfleet is off, and I love Starfleet, but there have always been cracks, even in TOS and
But-
TNG. So
Michelle, what do
but
you think of
yeah.
Starfleet? What do you think of Starfleet intelligence saying disengage? Like you should not continue on this mission.
They're
She
in
got
on
into
it. That
trouble
they
because
knew
she
that
went-
Patsy wasn't the guy.
Oh.
yeah, I think
That's what I
Yeah.
think. I don't know.
mean,
that's what I think.
about the
I think that's what
disengage
Rafi-
part. I think they should have said if they were worried about her mental health, that should have happened many months, like however long she was there, should have happened way prior to her watching
No.
an entire like hundreds of people massacred, right? Because that was
They
traumatic.
the writers
Yeah.
traumatized this character over and over again. It's like give
or
like,
traumatize us,
give
which
her
is okay
something.
to do,
Yeah.
by the way, because it's a safe.
But I love
place.
Michelle
I feel so
Hurd.
bad for the
I think
character. though.
Rafi's
She's just
hitting on all cylinders this season. I mean, she's even redeemed her. She has a good quality for Marcello. So they've done a good job of wrapping up her story.
Yeah.
And kind of bringing her ex into it. I thought was great, and her son Gabe. Because I think that's very compelling that it's real. Like sometimes you're put in those situations where you have to choose career, family. What are you gonna do? And
Not
family
just
is
that, in her case, it's bigger
season.
than career. It's not even career. It's more like duty. I think someone said earlier because she's aware that something's going down that could kill potentially millions of people, and she has to weigh that against her son. And so choosing duty, while it's not exactly the best thing to do, it's more in a way she's sacrificing her own joy, family life,
Yeah,
relationship with her
putting herself
son.
through more
I
trauma
think-
and torture for the sake of the good.
I think that there's
Someone else can save the galaxy.
I think there's a parallel
That's
here
a
with
good
Beverly.
children.
Like I think for all the Beverly-ness of this episode and what's going on with her, I think there's a parallel there. Yes, she kept her son. Yes, but she broke off from everyone. She cut herself off from Starfleet and everyone. I think that she's
it's
sacrificed
Shinzon's son.
a
There has
lot
to be a reason for
more,
that.
a lot more than we know. And that sacrifice is kind of like Rafi's sacrifice. And what did Picard say? The first duties to the truth, right? So this is what they're trying to do, despite everything, is we have to get to the truth of what's going on. And I think that Beverly and Rafi might be on some similar journeys to that, because I think they're going to collide at some point.
Not
those two
only
plot
that,
lines.
but I think that PJ's onto something. I think it's an inside Starfleet thing because, obviously Rafi's running into things where Starfleet is saying disengage, don't approach it. And Beverly says, don't trust Starfleet. So I think there's something going on. And Star Trek has done it a number of times where there's inside jobs where somebody inside the Federation or inside Starfleet is doing something nefarious. And it's up for our heroes to figure that out. Look at Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, which this series has been referred to quite a bit. And in that movie, there's insider jobs in Starfleet looking to undermine things. So I think
Somebody's
Crystal
gonna get a
West.
mask.
Usually
Get
bad
a mask
morals.
pulled off Scooby-Doo style.
yeah, exactly. Yep.
What were you gonna say, Michelle?
I said it's usually bad morals, so look out. But
Yeah.
I mean, look at Conspiracy season 1 of TNG. Like this has been a thread
That's a
even
great
in
episode.
the TOS episodes, like before the movies. So
That was a
Star-
literal inside job.
yes, literal
That's
inside
right.
job.
Peaceful coexistence. That's
Yes.
yeah, it's good.
But I
That was a
love.
literal
I
inside
mean,
job.
I think Terry probably has a great. I mean, right now I'm kind of impatient, so I'm a little edgy. But we'll see. It's got to be a great story because everybody's raving about it.
Patience is a
If
virtue.
it
It's
weren't
like-
for the
it's like-
raving, I would have disengaged.
Oh no.
Ooh.
Dang.
We're in for the
Oh boy.
Well
He,
done.
and
No,
what he
no,
means
no,
by
for
that
real.
is he would have kept watching, but folded laundry while he's watching, which is
Yeah, there
how
we
you
go.
know Todd
Yeah.
doesn't like
Womp
it. Like,
womp.
that's like, wah, wah, wah.
It would have been demoted to a laundry or dishes.
All right, guys. Anything
the
else?
Chat is picking up this, the chat is picking up about creepy ensign sideways guy.
Oh yeah,
that was
side
very-
eye
Yeah,
guy.
Chad. What is that? What? Yeah.
In episode
Wow.
1, the side eye guy. That guy's
There's-
yeah.
There's one more thing that I don't think that any of us have brought up yet. I would love to see what Terry's going to do with the reason why Will left. Deanna
Yes,
and his little girl at home. I want to see.
Oh,
Where's
left him at
Deanna?
home. I thought you meant like left
Yeah.
him. I was like, he hasn't
Yeah,
left him yet.
I want to see what their dynamic is like, and if it's just a case of I love you, but you need to get out of the house right now, or I'm going to punch you in the face, or if something else more nefarious happened there. So I want to see that, and I also believe that, like I said, I think that Seven's going to leave Starfleet at the end of the season, and I think that it would be really cool for them to give an apology to Jerry Ryan for handling her so awfully by giving her her own TV show. That would be cool. But they're not going to do
Seven,
that.
Rafi, and Eleanor, they're coming back. That's my guess.
Oh, no,
I want them
Rafi,
all
no
back.
Eleanor.
I want Soji
Just
back.
seven.
I want Eleanor back.
You know what? You know what? Give me I want not Soji, the twin that got blown up in the pot.
Dodge.
Dodge.
Dodge. I want her back. Forget Soji. I want Dodge back.
Wow, you're like,
Give me
you're
that
like,
one.
You're like a time travel event unrolled something. I do.
You don't want Corey from season 2 now?
No.
With
I could do
Wesley
without that.
traveling around?
traveling
No,
Corey.
That's a short
I
trick.
I do
Yeah.
like that they mention Jack Crusher mentions that he and I guess Dr. Crusher as well are working for the Mariposa group or whatever, which is
Rios'
what
group.
which is what Rios and Dr. What was the doctor's name?
I don't remember.
Doctor from the past.
She was
Yeah, her
only a
name is
plot
Soul.
point for the male lead, so
I try to erase that scene from my
Thank
brain.
you. Thank you. Right?
So-
Waste of time.
Anyways,
Forget that.
Anyways, that
My mind
that
to your mind,
doctor-
Marcelo. There we go.
That doctor created this thing, and I love that there's this like it carries on into the 25th century from all the way in our time. It's a nice little connection. It's like a Doctors Without Borders thing, basically helping people who can't. So I really
Well,
like
here's a
that
cool
as well.
thing. In Guinan's bar, at the end of season 2, which I know has been controversial, you see the picture of Rios. Right above the
Yeah.
picture of Rios is a picture of Guinan and Beverly. So I wonder if Guinan knows what's up, and her and Q are like, "Hey, Picard, you may want to reconnect here because there's something big that's going to go down." So, and I always wondered if Seven knew Beverly from her Fenris Ranger days because of the whole
like
connection.
the crossover with
her-
the Mariposa. Yeah.
When we saw her in the beginning of season 2, she was transporting medical supplies, and it had the Mariposa logo. Even though it hadn't happened, it had the butterfly thing.
And Seven does say in episode or the previous episode that she knows who Beverly
Yep.
is.
Yes. Somebody
does.
on Twitter had said maybe it's because she's Borg, and when Picard was assimilated, maybe Beverly, like his feelings are so strong about Beverly, maybe it entered the Borg consciousness. I think the
The
Fenris
whole
Ranger
collective
thing.
is in love with Beverly.
Yeah, the whole collective.
She
All
will.
right.
She is the real Borg queen. Let's face
We
it.
will
But-
assimilate your Beverlys.
But I think
Real
the
quick
Fenris
shout
Ranger.
out. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead, Michelle.
No, just
Wait,
Fenris
sorry.
Rangers, Beverly, and Seven, maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think you're on
That'd
to
be
something.
cool.
We have Lil Reggie Dollar Bills from Miami, my hometown. Hello, how are you? I'm new to the show. My name
That's
is
funny.
Reggie, hailing frequencies open. I like that name, Dollar Bills. I need some
Dollar
Dollar
Bills.
Bills, Reggie. Hit me up.
Yeah.
welcome to
Why
welcome to
aren't
our
you
stream,
Starfleet dollar
Reggie.
bills? I don't understand. Why isn't that the new handle?
Because there's currency outside of the
I
Federation.
wish I had thought
you know?
about it because actually that's
Platinum
a really rad
bills.
handle. I would have loved to have been Starfleet Dollar Bills because that's an interesting name. Actually, that's really cool.
But there's no money in Starfleet.
So-
So.
Exactly.
One of us asked, "Where's Deanna?" Do we
Yeah, I
think?
did.
Do we think that when finally the whole TNG cast reunite, do we think that they're gonna pull back on a bridge and they're all gonna take their places, and they're gonna hit the TNG music, and that's
Oh,
how
that
they're
was
gonna do
great.
the shot.
Yes.
Oh yes.
On the Enterprise, no less.
Also, I can't wait until they all. Also, I can't wait until they all sit around a table. Oh, I'm gonna lose it just for them sitting around a table. Oh, sorry.
All right, guys, let's wrap it up. It's the time of the show where we give our final thoughts and ratings. I'm just gonna say this was a very fun discussion. Thank you all for attending. Toddy said he could only stay for an hour, and he stayed all the way. So
Hey, look,
that
I
shows
put in the effort.
He was
You guys
engaged. He was
I'm
engaged.
very good. He
I'm
was-
polite because there are new folks. Hello, how do you?
Hello.
It's just us. I can scram, but you know.
I'll just close by saying this was a really fun conversation. Obviously, we're in episode 2. I can't speculate much about what's going to happen. I can just say that I do believe episode 3 is better than this one, personally. So I'm excited for you all to see it and talk about episode 3.
You can't give this a 10 then.
Damn, you're like hardcore. Yes, I can if I'm gonna give it like a higher than 10 rating. What did I give last week's episode? A 10, right?
No,
10.
You give it like
10.
emotion out of 10, so it
No,
doesn't
10.
matter.
Emotion out of 10.
10.
This
Emotions
week,
count. Emotions count.
They do.
This week I'm gonna give it 100 splinters out of 10 shrikes. That's my rating this week. But
Wow.
It's quite a lot of splinters.
it's a lot of splinters. But I will say that it's a proper 10. It's a solid 10 so far. So far, Star Trek Picard season 3 is perfect in my eyes. Even
Oh,
with
hell
all
yeah.
its
Whole lot
mistakes
better than
that you might have
that other
pointed
stuff.
out. It's still perfect, so whatever. But yeah, very interesting stuff that you guys brought up in the conversation to think about. Guys, the conversation continues. If you're on Twitter, you can check out Twitter Spaces. There's the Crusher convo coming up, but I'll let Michelle say more about that. Toddy, final thoughts and ratings.
I mean, at the risk of sounding like a hater after that glorious review of yours, I'm gonna give this a 6 out of 10, which it's not bad. It's not bad. It's just I find that in true Star Trek tradition, there are episodes that they're fine. They just don't bring that much to the table. Mad shout out. I know everyone raves about Riker, and yes, Jonathan Frakes is doing a good job, but shout out to her. I mean, she's killing it. I think Rafi's got the best story, and I think that her performance is elevating, what they're giving her. So, yeah, that's it.
Right on. By the way, we have Chuck Apocalypse in the audience. He's a childhood friend. I've known him since I
Oh,
was
wow. We
very
haven't
wee.
seen him in a while.
Yeah,
He was
Chuck
in the
is an
first season of
actor,
Picard.
And he was,
Oh, yeah, that's
exactly. He was in the
right.
first
He's the
season
brown
of
goop
Picard.
man.
Oh
The
my
brown
God,
goop
yeah,
man, the
that's
first guy to
brown
get
goop man.
killed on Utopia Planitia in that scene. He gets his neck broke. So yeah, that's
Wow.
Chuck. He's my friend. So it's pretty cool to see him there. All right, Michelle, give us your final thoughts. And by the way, the rating for both of you and Ken, just to reiterate, it can be nonsensical, and you can opt out. It's just like a fun thing we do. It doesn't really mean anything. It's just like it's a tradition here.
What could it mean?
But-
I don't know. Yeah, I'll have to go with something crazy. I don't want to give away my full rating, but because I have further conversations to get on. But I did enjoy this episode, not as much as last week, but I am loving the suspense. I'm loving seeing all the characters back. Things are getting going with the plot. I enjoyed Vadic. I'm a big Star Trek 6 fan. It was my first Star Trek movie in the movie theaters, so it was nice to see Amanda Plummer playing that up. And of course, Beverly and Picard. I just call me sappy, whatever. Just for that, I don't know, maybe what could I do? What was 9 flinging starships? I don't know.
Oh, I like that.
Bye bye,
good
Beverly
one.
Crusher's home. But
Miss
see ya, Elios, goddess of
Powell
compassion.
family. When I was a goddess of empathy, right? Yeah, or something
Empathy,
like
there
that.
you go. I'm not sure. There were a few things thrown around, but I knew that it
Yeah, it's
typified
true.
Beverly Crusher. We'll get you there, Toddy. I'm telling you, we'll get you there.
Miss Powell family in the audience says someone had a great video on Twitter. If you find it, can you tag me in that, Miss Powell family? That compares.
I
Beverly
have
and
it.
Leslie. Oh, you
I'll
have it.
tag
Cool.
you in
On
it.
the
Yeah.
nice on the
On
bridge.
speed
in Encounter at
dial.
Farpoint. Was that
You'll
one
find
of
it.
Jesse's videos?
It was actually Isabel. Well, what they did was they took 2 gifts and they put them together. And it's
How
like, so I
cool.
could send you the GIF, or I could find the person who actually did it, which would be nice to give credit. I think
Yeah,
it was
let's do that.
Isabel. I think it was Isabel on Twitter. So I
Very
will
cool.
find her.
Braxton,
But yeah, it was a
final
good
thoughts
episode.
Thank you, Braxton. Final thoughts and a rating, sir. I know you haven't seen the whole episode, so you can do whatever you want.
Justice. My final thoughts: justice for Seven. The only person that knows how to treat a woman in season 3 of Picard is a Ferengi drug dealer. This episode gets a 6 from me.
Oh,
Nasty girl. Dude, I love that line, dude. I had to I said, "Ooh, did he say nasty girl?" And then like I rewound it. It's like he was like, "Oh, nasty girl." I was like, "Ooh, ooh," I loved it, dude.
He was a very despicable, but deliciously despicable character. Well done, Aaron Stanford. PJ,
this episode made me feel like being ripped apart and then pulled back together over and over again. So I give it 2 Ferengi severed heads out of 5. There you go.
very nicely done. Marcelo, you get to go next, and we'll end on Ken. Okay,
I
Marcelo.
will,
Oh,
like I said, this episode made me rant and rave like a lunatic. So there's things I liked about it. There's elements that I really enjoyed, but there was things about it that really didn't work for me. So, with that being said, I will give this episode, I will give this episode a 4 out of 10. It was
wow.
yeah, it was good, but
What'd you give last week's episode? I don't remember.
last week's episode. I was drunk on Romulan ale and I gave it a 19. But last week's episode was great though.
All right, so from a 19 to a 4. Wow. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, no,
Ken.
but just real quick.
Sure.
The reason why I gave it a 4 is because I didn't like the way that Seven was treated by Shaw. Like I said before, I think that guy is a spineless jellyfish. I want someone to put that guy in his place, either that or try to murder him. Like just throw him out of an airlock. I don't like the guy.
When you calm down and you consider like the filmmaking, the script, the acting, and everything else, in the
Can't just
episode,
be killing people we don't like.
maybe
sadly.
just maybe,
No.
you'll
We're not
give
7.
This episode a little.
No, I do
higher
look.
rating, but I
We're not
understand it's
wolves.
from the gut.
We can't just cut people's
Look,
heads
I
off.
do
Not
I do acknowledge that I'm not using my writer's brain right now. I'm reacting like a fan right now.
I know, I love it.
But I think that Terry is gonna possibly do a 180 on me, and I think that he's gonna give me a reason to find this guy at least passable for me. But I don't know when that's gonna happen. I didn't like the villain as much as you guys did, but all in all, I'll just finish up real quick. I thought this episode was okay, but I can't wait to see what Terry does moving forward with it.
Right on, Marcel. Ken, take us out.
Yeah, take us out. So I think I would give it 7 out of 10. And I can't think of like 7 severed heads or 7 throwing ships or whatever it is. But I would, I think it was a strong episode. Was not as strong as last week. There was a lot riding on last week as the season premiere, and I thought I would have probably given 9 out of 10. There's things that worked well and things that didn't. I love the production value. The only thing that one could say about it is it's being produced like a movie. So one could argue it's not sort of being produced like a series; it's being produced like a movie. So thrusters only in space dock. That's right, Benjamin. So that's it. I'd say 7 out of 7 Klingon heads out of 10 thrown starships. 7 Ferengi heads out of 10 thrown starships. There we go.
With Marcelo's really low score, I'm gonna move my rating up to a 14 so that we can average out at 7 for the group. So,
Jesus Christ, man!
We're gonna
Good God!
7 of 9.
We're gonna average
God,
out.
man!
He's the captain.
He's the captain. I mean, I'm
What are
the
you gonna do?
admiral.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Starfleet so hail as an admiral. Anyways, guys, thank you so much. This has been really wonderful. Thank you for spending time with me and our audience. Thank you for spending time with all of us.
It was great
And me
meeting
too.
you guys, and thank you so
Yeah,
much.
yeah,
Stephanie, for
Yeah, it was
inviting me.
awesome. Thank
That's
you.
New faces on
Likewise.
this discussion. Very cool. Anyone have a thing to promote before we go? Anyone have a video or like something? I know Ken already talk about it. Michelle.
Well, we have a Crusher Convo at 9
Convo
o'clock.
coming up,
So if you
yep.
want to keep talking about this episode with the Beverly Crusher Bent, we're your folks over there at Twitter
And then-
Spaces.
And then at 10:30 p.m. Eastern time, we have the Salon based on
Yes.
something from Lower Decks, which is really funny, but it's become quite a cool thing, and I like attending both of those. So I'll see you guys at 8 and 10:30 there. Anyone else got anything? PJ, you got a stream going on tomorrow or anything like that? Perhaps. Okay, cool.
Perhaps.
Marcella, what's coming up on your various and prolific podcasting adventures?
Yeah, I actually have some big announcements coming soon. I think I have 2 new shows that are kind of taking shape and will be announced very, very shortly. That are going to be a part of my Balloon Head Productions umbrella coming up. But if you want to check out all of my podcasts that I do, if you want to check out all my adventures online, the best place to do that is on Twitter. I'm at CreekFanatic88. But thanks for having me, and I apologize for the audience who watched this for me losing my mind because I did go a little nuts.
That's what they come here for. I
Yeah,
mean, really.
absolutely.
That's where the entertainment is. So.
Let's just hope that at episode 3 you have an arc and people stop hating you anymore. So,
Ooh.
just kidding.
Yeah.
That way I get placed.
Boo, Starfleet Boy, boo. Anyways,
I can't wait to hear Beverly speak in episode 3. We'll see.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
I don't want to hype it too much, but I'm just gonna say she does speak. I'll just say that.
That's awesome.
Yay.
Did her voice change? Does she have a voice box now? or something?
You've
Got
heard
deeper, I
James
think.
McFadden. All right, folks. You can check us out every Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, reacting to the latest and greatest Picard. On Friday nights, go check out Text Track, where they do a deep dive with like screenshots and everything. It's a little bit more of a kind of structured discussion. Also on Saturdays we are covering the animated series episode by episode, just like we were doing for Picard. So this Saturday you can check us out and watch that at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tonight, again, go check out those Twitter Spaces, and live long and prosper, and we will see you next time. Thank you so much.